Yo, dig this, man. How do you handle things when shit just does not go your way? Listen, everybody can handle success. Well, I wouldn't say everybody, but people can typically handle things when they go in their direction. But how do you respond? How do you react when shit just does not go your way? That is a window into the core of who you are. How do you handle defeat? How do you handle despair? How do you handle frustration? How do you handle animosity? How do you handle things just not falling in your favor? How do you handle it? See, we always look for clues and a blueprint to success, but a lot of people don't talk about how do you handle it when it hits the fan? How do you handle it when things just don't pan out the way that you intended them to? How do you handle that? You know, what I've come to realize for a lot of people is, if you kind of have a pessimistic view of life, it kind of hits in just about everything. You set goals or you have expectations, but you have a way of limiting or hedging those expectations because you don't want to disappoint yourself. Because if you keep your expectations low enough, you can really never be disappointed. Or you can approach it through the lens of, yeah, I kind of expected it to not work out anyway. There's an age old quote that says, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, it's the truth, right? Everything starts with belief. And if you remember the 5 components to understanding your mindset, belief is a core component of your mindset. But for those that look at the glass half empty, a lot of times we hedge our bets, right? So when things don't work out, we really don't take it too hard because honestly, we kind of expected it to not work out. Real talk. That's how some work, right? That's how some people's mindset, that's how some people are wired. But the reality is there's another side to the coin in which there are people who are optimistic in how they operate. There are people who look at the glass as half full, and for them, they have to really guard themselves with regard to their reaction to failure and disappointment. Because a lot of people are the dreamers. They have the big dreams, the big goals. But with the big dreams, the big goals, the high expectation, when those things do not pan out, you have to also guard yourself because the downside can be a steep one. And that's where we have to understand how we are, understand how we're wired. And the whole point of this example is I want everybody here to take a personal inventory of who you are. Really look through and think through some of your experiences. This doesn't have to be deep, but think about the last time that you failed at something. Think about the last time something didn't work out in your favor. Think about the last time you lost a contract. Think about the last time you got disappointed review or from a testimonial from a previous client. Like, think through those lenses. Right? Think through those examples, but then also reflect on how you handled it. I can think to myself, and I'm gonna be honest, I am a pretty optimistic person, right? But I also have to catch myself because sometimes I do limit my potential because I don't dream big because I kind of want to hedge my bet a little bit. What that speaks to at times is my lack of faith or my lack of belief in the thing that I'm doing. Because if I step into something and I don't really look at it through the lens of hitting a home run or really doing an amazing job, but I'm like, I'm kind of satisfied with being okay. I really don't believe in that thing to begin with. And that's something that I have to reflect on to work on as I move forward. Because if I step into something not giving it my all will not be reflected in my performance. Therefore, I will limit my impact on those that I'm called to impact, but then I'll also limit the fulfillment that I'll gain because I'll know that I've always left something kind of still in the tank. I didn't empty the tank. And so I have to be reflective of that. And I recognize myself that this is something that I have to work through, not selling myself short to hedge my bet, even though I'm a pretty optimistic person, right? But the thing is, I've understood that because I've taken an inventory of who I am. I've gone through experiences. I've gone through contracts getting canceled and being frustrated because I put my all in something, and that actually got me down for a short period of time until you come to realize that sometimes things happen that are not because of your doing. And again, there are some things you need to take accountability for, but then there are other things in which you do not need to take the hit for. Hear that again. There are some things you should take accountability for, but then there are other things that you should not take the hit for. Don't blame yourself for something in which you were not at fault. On the flip side, if you were at fault, make sure you take all the blame, learn what you did wrong, make the necessary changes so that as you move forward, you don't do that thing again. Learn from your mistakes. But the whole point of it is when things don't go your way, you have to find proper ways to handle the failure, proper ways to handle the disappointment. And the proper way is not to limit your optimism about something so that you kind of hedge your bet. The proper way is to make sure that you take an inventory of what happened, look at how you responded to it, look at the lessons in that, and then also build a protocol or build some type of process in place so that going forward, you do not react the same way. And you might not react the same way because you can make the necessary changes that you got from the feedback that was called failure. See, failure is nothing but feedback. Disappointment is nothing but feedback. These are all data points. If you look at how things operate in technology now, everything is really rooted in collecting all of this data. And now you have AI and all of these algorithms that run all these tests and look at all this different stuff with the data. And then they get feedback. And with that feedback, they then develop a strategy moving forward. So you can adopt that same process in how you operate. If stuff hits the fan, if shit doesn't work out in your favor, use that as data. Take that data, analyze it, figure out what you need to change as you move forward and implement it. That's it. Don't take it as a personal attack on you or your character. Failure is going to happen. Failure is not fatal. You know, one of the things that I've used in coaching sessions with individuals is using different spellings of the word fail. You have F-A-I-L and you have F-E-L-L. If you fail, F-A-F-E-L-L, you just simply need to get up, right? You fell on the floor, get up. If you F-A-I-L, that has more of a devastating tone to it. So my whole suggestion to a lot of people is stop viewing fail as F-A-I-L and look at fail as F-E-L-L, which means that you just got to get your butt up. That's it. No more, no less. So if stuff's hit the fan, if stuff didn't go your way, reflect on it. Think about why. Think about why you reacted a certain way to things not going your way. But then also look at that disappointment, failure, devastation, challenge as basically a data point. That's it. No more, no less. And do like the tech companies do and the algorithms and AI do what they do with data, analyze the data, and then build a strategy using what you've garnered from the data that you've analyzed and make necessary changes as you move forward. And then that failure is actually a blessing because that failure is actually a lesson that you can learn from and you can move forward from. Now, again, this is just a strategic approach to handling shit not going your way. And if you're going to be the quarterback of your mindset, you have to be prepared to deal with shit not going your way. All right. Well, hey, as always, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. Make sure to give this thing a like, a share. And if you're not already subscribed, follow at Coach Mike D across social media and here on YouTube. And until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. I'll holler at you. Peace.